Warning, strong language. This channel frequently uses words that would make your mother blush. If you can't handle it, then cry about it in the comments.
What's up, you Disney nerds? Today we are going to kick it off with OG55 and Mr. Webba, and we are going to talk about D23 and our hot takes. But this is going to go beyond hot takes. This is going to get pretty spicy. I can just feel it. I had a little talk last night with OG and Webba to the point where we had to get on a show and just get it all out, because we've been holding back just a tad bit. Most of us were holding back. I put a few things here and there out on the internet, but nothing to the extent we're going to get into today. So let's set it off with, did D23 just play it too safe? That's where we're gonna keep this topic. But first, before we get into it, OG55, Mr. Webba, let them know where they can find you guys.
Go ahead, Mr. Webba.
Oh, all right. Thank you so much, sir. You can find me, Mr. Webba, at Webcast Citizen on X, Threads, TikTok, which I need to start making content there, and my YouTube channel and Instagram. You can also find me on Orange Grove 55.
Yes, sir. Yeah, he is my CFO, my chief financial officer over there at OG55. He is doing big things, making big moves. But yeah, you can find me right here on YouTube, Orange Grove 55, talking studio, theme parks, all that good stuff with these two fine gentlemen all the time. Candid, we got to do an After Dark again very soon. We haven't done one of those in a little while. But yeah, right here on YouTube, Orange Grove 55, and also on X and on Instagram, Orange Grove 55.
Love it. You said he's your CFO, right?
Yes.
Does that mean he's a risk taker?
He is a big risk taker. He takes all kinds of risks, which I love. That's what I look for in CFO. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense. That makes sense. When you're in a position like that, taking risks sometimes is what you got to do, I would assume.
You got to. And plus, he's the #1 Disney fan, so that helps.
Dude, #1 Disney fan guy.
Go follow these two guys. I'm going to have all their stuff down in the description below. Also follow me, Candy Camper, over on Instagram, TikTok, and I think that's it. Instagram, TikTok, and here on YouTube, OG55. Let's see it. Let's get it. We are not live, but we're ready to rock. All right, OG, you've been holding back for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I really want to hear what you think about Daddy Josh. I'm gonna start
out the gate. Just out the gate. Okay, so this is my issue. This is my concern right now with the current, I guess, the current direction of the theme park experiences division. Right? Is that, Josh Tomorrow? He was interviewed on ABC when he first started. I think it was like back in like March or whatever, and he talked about being a big risk taker. Right. Cool. I like that. I think that if you're going to run the Walt Disney Company, you need to be a big risk taker. That's Walt Disney started this company with a massive risk, constantly risking everything. You need to have that. My issue is that we had this D23 Expo, and Thomas Maslam, who is now running the experiences division under Josh Tomorrow, got on that stage and basically gave a wish list and checked off every fan wish in the last 20 years, right? Every fan wish in the last 20 years on that stage. Oh, we're going to give you a new Yeti. We're going to give you Figment and Dreamfinder. We're going to give you a new TomorrowLand. And cool. Those things are really cool. My issue with that, though, is the one thing that takes a little bit of cojones, right? The Pandora thing, that's the thing that was not mentioned. And that's the thing that we are hearing has been deprioritized in favor of a new Tomorrowland. Now, look, I know a lot of fans, they want what they want. New Tomorrowland has been something that we definitely need. I totally understand that. But at the same time, a new Tomorrowland is, in my opinion, a cheap applause line. Okay, let's be real. Like, it's like saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to give everyone in the audience $20. Come on. It's easy money. The bigger risk is, you know what? I know that you guys are complaining on Twitter and on social media about this Avatar thing, and we're going to do it anyway. And we're not going to deprioritize it. We're going to spend $1 billion on this thing, make it super dope. And when you actually go into this area and ride this ride, you're going to be very, very surprised in a good way. That's a risk taker. I feel like they're getting a little bit like this, like they're afraid to like talk about Pandora, maybe even afraid to do it because of what the fans are gonna think, or like, you know, there's been drama on social media. That I'm sorry, you know, Josh, if you're a risk taker, be the risk taker. Own it, do it, shake things up, man. Build the dope thing that you're promising us in that model. Do not chicken out. You know, everything on that stage, while a lot of it was pretty cool, like the Indiana Jones stuff and Villains Land, a lot of it was safe. A lot of it was, I'm going to say this because I know the fans are going to love it. It was easy applause. And I'm sorry, I'm not on board with that. I think this company needs to take some risks. And I'm kind of worried that this whole narrative too, Maslam, even after the expo, you guys has been coming out saying like, yeah, we're listening to fans. We're listening to fans. That's the other thing too, before I take it over to you guys. I listening to fans is a good thing. You can over listen to fans though too. The fans don't know the plans. Okay. The fans don't know the plan. The fans have no idea what this Avatar thing, this boat ride is going to be like. And you're going to let the fans decide whether you're going to make it or not. They don't even know what you're going to do with it. Like, to me, it's the most frustrating thing. The fans didn't want Mission Breakout. The fans didn't want Pandora coming to Animal Kingdom. I remember all the outrage back in the day for those two things. Sometimes the fans are wrong. A lot of times the fans are wrong. So believe in your creative team, Josh. Trust your team. Build the Avatar area and show everybody that they were wrong. That's why I stand with it.
The being here is that we've had to sit through this BS since 2020, right, and all the changes that this park has gone through. So them taking risks, were they being held back because of management before that? So now that they have this new guy in charge, Josh, is he letting those reins go? And I think that's going to be the issue. Are we going to be stuck in the 2020 realm for a long time because he's afraid to let these people like loose off their leash? Or is it the fact that we still have a lot of those 2020 people still in position that are the ones that are raising their hands as the guest experience, and they're the ones that are giving us the shit we don't need? So we need to find out where Disney sits with these Imagineers, and if it's Josh holding them back or if it's the Imagineers coming up with these ideas that they're not going to push. But as seeing what we already have now with Villains Land and Avatar, I think the right people are on those projects. And the fact that we're getting Villains Land and we're getting it the way we are, I do think Josh kind of stepped up a little bit out of his comfort zone and pushed forward with Villains Land. So why is he okay doing that, which he knows that the fans are going to be okay with it. I know that's going to be the argument here, but he is going deeper and with a darker theme than we thought we were going to get. So why is Avatar such a risk? And I personally think Avatar is such a risk is because of its location. Has nothing to do with Avatar, has nothing to do with how much it's going to cost. It has to do with it being in that section of DCA.
What do you think, Webber? You think he's right? You think it's more about the location that they're kind of iffy about than it is about the IP, or?
So this is interesting regarding Avatar. I think it's a multitude of problems. I've been having arguments online with not arguments, but just kind of stating my opinion. But the thing with Avatar is, for one, people are using a plethora of excuses why they don't want Pandora in DCA. And what I mean by that is more so excuses of they don't really want the IP, so they say things like, well, it's losing. It didn't make as much money as the last two movies. No one likes Avatar. It can't fit there, so maybe it should go to Disney's Animal Kingdom or to somewhere else. It doesn't fit the DCA theme. So there's all these things, right? And now here's the thing: when we first heard about Pandora coming to DCA, I also said that doesn't make sense. Why? How is Avatar going to fit in a California theme park? That makes no sense. And why is it going to go in that spot in Hollywood Land? I thought the same thing. Like, to me, that was really weird. However, kind of getting more into seeing what they're presenting, like in this picture here with the model, what type of attraction this is going to be, and just hearing, from different people that this thing could be really, really amazing. And if they're able to actually fit this into that spot plus the unload busload area, I want something like this. Now, look, let me say this. It doesn't have to be Avatar. I'm not advocating for Avatar just because it's Avatar. I'm advocating for the ambition of this type of project. So if you took the IP of Avatar out of this what we're seeing right here, I still want that. I still want this in DCA. I don't care if it's Avatar or not. And we need something like this in the park. And I think what a lot of fans get very confused is they say, well, if the IP is not relevant or people don't like it. No. I get what you're coming from, but these Disney and these other companies, they don't use an IP being relevant or not for deciding if they want to use it in a theme park. It's a very different thing. Like, hey, does this IP or does this kind of aesthetic, does this theming, does the stories, can we make this into a really cool experience for the guests in a theme park setting? That's a very different translation from what you're watching in a studio.
Yes, no, you're right. And Avatar is a film franchise. It's also a theme park franchise. And the theme park land in Animal Kingdom is one of the highest rated things at Walt Disney World. Disney sees that and says, hey, we can bring that success over to California Adventure. So it's not about, that's where I think people miss the mark when they're like, well, you know, the last movie only made $1.5 billion. Well, first of all, the fact that we're even saying only in front of 1.5 billion is crazy to me. That right there shows you just how strong Avatar is, because if that's only, well, geez, I mean, I know Encanto didn't make that much and they're still getting their ride in Florida for that one. And I know Dial of Destiny didn't make that much, right? And so, I mean, but that's the thing. It's not only, I mean, it's not just only the box office. They're looking at the theme park equation here.
Well, is that?
And it also, we also have a land here that we're going to have Pandora at night. And Disney understands that this is going to be a huge selling point for the West Coast and a place where they can chill, vibe out, have a drink. This is a money maker just off of that alone. Go ahead.
Well, OG, and great points, because we can think of a lot of examples, even at Disneyland Resort alone, of how the IP itself versus the land, it doesn't really matter. For example, look at Cars Land. A lot of people aren't really a fan of the Cars franchise. I do actually really like the first movie. But that land is gorgeous. It's big. One of the best attractions in that resort is Raiders meets Racers. Galaxy's Edge. Okay, Galaxy's Edge with Rise of the Resistance. A lot of people, even fans, don't care for the sequel trilogy. But guess what? They love Rise of the Resistance. Why? Because that ride was executed amazingly. And, so you can have these differences in terms of what was done in the studio on screen versus what they're able to accomplish via Imagineers in the theme park setting.
No, you can. And that's an important like distinction. And the other thing too is like, I feel like there's a little bit of this idea with the Avatar thing where it's like with the Floridians, where I feel it's a little bit of like this energy of like, that's a Florida exclusive. Like, we kind of don't want you to have it, but they're not saying that because, okay. And the reason why and I'm not like trying to crap on Floridians or anything. I mean, it's just something that I've noticed personally, and you can kind of see it here with this tweet by BYU Florida, where it says Whispers just put it in Animal Kingdom as a Pandora expansion. I've been seeing this over and over and over again, right? Where it's like I see people from Florida saying that they should get it at their resort, but then I see a lot of these same people saying that, like, you know what, like this franchise ain't viable. Well, it's viable enough for you to get it in Florida, right? But it's just not viable enough to put it in DCA. So that's where you kind of tell on yourself a little bit, where you're like kind of like admitting like it's not really about the franchise being viable, right? It's more about just making sure that Florida gets another cool thing. Now, and that bothers me. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Now, let me also put this too, because what do you guys think about the future change thematically or even name of DCA? Because a lot of fans are saying, well, this doesn't fit in DCA because the theme, it's not a California theme, which I get. If this Pandora has nothing to do with California itself or the culture, then yeah, I agree with you. It doesn't fit thematically. Okay, for sure. But do we know in the background somewhere, or is there any thing that maybe Imagineers or Disney are looking at to potentially change the forward-going theme of DCA or a name change to have a broader range of attractions and experiences?
They've changed theme park names before. They've changed Hollywood Studios. It used to be Disney MGM, and now it's Disney Hollywood Studios. They changed what was it called before in Paris? The Walt Disney Studio Park, I believe. And now it's Disney Adventure World, right?
Yeah.
And they even changed a little bit DCA when they took off the apostrophe S. It used to be Disney's California Adventure. Now it's Disney California Adventure. So it wouldn't shock me if they rethemed it to Disney Cinematic Adventure. And see, this is the other issue that I have. Fans don't know the plans. Like I said earlier on, fans don't know the plans. So fans are trying to advocate to get this thing canceled off of very limited information. Yeah. Like, they don't like, oh, this doesn't fit California, so why are they building it? Cancel it. Well, you don't know. Is there a plan to retheme the park? Because then your whole argument goes down the toilet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and even with the ride, dude, there was a guy on Twitter today. There was a dude on Twitter today who was saying like, oh, this looks boring. The concept all looks boring. It looks like the Navi River journey. So right? Why are we building another one? And he's basically making a whole big fuss on Twitter like they shouldn't build this thing because it's basically the boring ride in Florida. But the dude doesn't even know what he's talking about because this isn't going to be the same ride in Florida. It's supposed to be based on the Shanghai Disneyland Pirate ride system, which is not boring at all, which is crazy intense. We've seen like the Marcus, you and I did a video on it. So these fans open their mouths. They try to like, advocate for this thing to get like canceled, not knowing all the information in the first place. And that's what worries me when Josh and Thomas Maslam get on that experiences stage at D23 and say, we're listening to fans. I don't want you to listen to the freaking fans, dude. The fans don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yes. And two things. One, I really think it was, a mistake to not at least go into some detail or just reinforce at the panel. Hey, maybe say something like, hey, we don't have anything else to show you today or tell you that will come later, but just to let everybody know here, this ride's amazing. It's coming to DCA. It's going into Hollywood studio backlot. Now, I think with the Navi River journey, that's funny because if you look at the model, even the concept art, the boat is way different than the Navi River boat. I mean, they're two different boats. But yeah, I just feel like that's okay. Look, regarding Pandora and really everything else that was announced, even with like the Walt Disney World stuff, I would be totally okay. And I've said this before. I would be totally okay if like, let's say Pandora was being worked on right now, or even like Coco, right? That it's all boarded up. I would have been fine if they would have never announced those until maybe now because there's construction going on. Because there's a project pipeline that has to go through. If you're going to announce a project in year, 0.5 or year 1, but it's not coming out till year 10, why are we even discussing this? Because the plans constantly change. And here's the thing. I still think that Pandora, Avatar will come. I still think it will until Disney says themselves otherwise. However, that doesn't mean I don't think that they can't change their mind at the last second.
But if they do change their mind, is it going to be shelved or are they going to move it to a new location?
I mean, it could be both.
They might just cancel it because from what I'm hearing, this land is very much designed for this backlot area. Like they worked on designing it for this backlot. I mean, maybe they'll redesign it again for like, Florida, but
listen to this though. Like they cancel it, then now we're not going to get anything. We're not going to get anything ambitious. We're going to get bullshit put there. We're going to keep this fucking little ass, what is it, Mike Wazowski cutout board? Like, what are we doing? We're keep getting rides that are retheming other rides. We're finally going to get something that's going to expand the park. It's going to make that whole area different and change because it needs a change. Do you guys really like walking through the bus area? Like, do you really like just having to just get funneled through right there? It's not fun. So
And
with all
this,
that being fixed, it just makes sense just for the logistics of the fucking park.
I agree.
and this is the problem, Candid, is this is the hard thing with the domestic parks, even Florida, is with the way that budgets are compared to like when they build stuff in Shanghai, Hong Kong, Tokyo, right? I think Paris a little bit. I'm not sure of Paris, but at least with the Asian parks, like we get budget cut to crap over here.
And that's what's going to happen. If we don't use it, we're going to lose it. And that's exactly what's going to happen because everyone's complaining about this now, right? They cancel it. Guess where that $1 billion is going to go? It's not going to go to the TomorrowLand retheme or restructure or whatever the fuck they're going to do over there. It's not going to. I guarantee you, they're not going to put $1 billion into TomorrowLand. And I want you to go with this OG. Then we'll come back to the TomorrowLand stuff because I got a lot to say about that.
Oh yeah, me too. I completely agree. No, you're right, and we've seen this happen over and over again, right? Look at Westcott. We did a video. We done many videos on Westcott. A very ambitious second gate for Disneyland Resort. They canceled it because all this outside drama and all this BS. And what do we get? We got DCA 1.0. So I agree with you, Candid, where we cancel Avatar, and what they're probably going to put here is probably some stupid, cheaper thing that's not even half as good. And the problem with this experience panel is that, you know what, I'm seeing people on Twitter today, like even Dave from Fresh Baked, shout out to him. I love Dave, but he was even saying like, oh, this new artwork looks pretty cool. Like this boat ride goes outside like at night like this and all that. And like, I saw that and I'm like, dude, Disney, people are very skeptical of this land, but when people find out more about it, they like it. So why are you hiding stuff? If Thomas Maslam would have gone on stage and showed how dope this ride's going to be, just how dope this land's going to be, you would win fans on board. But instead, we're playing the same old games where they're going to like put the freaking model on the expo floor and then not say a word at the Honda Center, and we're back to square one again. If you show people what you're planning a little bit and show how ambitious and dope this is going to be, you would get more people. You would win more hearts and minds. I don't know why what are they so afraid of? And that's the other thing too. And it kind of annoys me. Like I know a lot of fans love all the talking points about like we're listening to fans. It sounds good and sounds really pretty at face value. It's kind of annoying though too because it feels very focus groupy. It feels like we're focus grouping everything. Like
how are you going to focus group when the fucking donuts aren't there? And a focus group put the donut there, and they're like, whoever eats the old ass donuts, they're the weirdo. At least I know the donuts are there. At least I know they're old. I don't know anything about this land except for that concept art that cut half of it. And that's in the front.
And Ken and OG, look, even with like the Avengers stuff, right? I mean, we saw a little bit with the with Infinity Defense, which looked really cool, by the way. So I'm hopeful for it. Am I excited? No. You know why? Because one, we haven't seen much of it. Two, this thing has been in development for so long, the excitement has gone away. Coco, I'm not excited for because there was nothing to show. We've only had 3 pieces of concept art, no height requirement, and and what the story was. Like that to me, that's not exciting. I'm sorry, it's not. And then Pandora, that model, super exciting. But here's the other question: why wasn't that model? Why didn't they show the other half of it? Like if that part's that big, I can only imagine what the other piece is gonna look like. And that's the thing,
though.
There was
no reason for it.
Well, Cannon, what was the reason for them not giving us information on any of the West Coast projects? The most exciting thing to me was the next day when Scott Gustin, shout out, is like, oh yeah, Disney's gonna be starting on the Esponaut stuff. That to me, that was the most exciting news.
No, it was. It absolutely was. And you're right. It's not just Pandora. Yeah, Pandora was the least of all the announcements for sure. But they were jipping Coco too.
Yeah.
Coco didn't get I'm sorry. That thing is being built right now. And they didn't give us anything. They gave us a concept art for the queue area and one more scene in the ride and the no height requirement. Whoop-de-doo. Meanwhile, we're going to spend 25 minutes on Villains Land. Dude, Coco is going to come out before Villains Land. Why is Villains Land getting more stage time than Coco? Like Avengers, we got a 30-second sizzle reel. It's
Do you
pathetic, dude. And I'm sorry. And I see all these people on Twitter, on X, saying how great the expo was. It was a great time. Like Webba and I had a fantastic time, dude. It was super fun. But in terms of announcements for the West Coast, it was booty cheeks, bro. It was booty cheeks. It didn't deliver. It did not deliver, man.
No.
And Florida got all the goods, And you know why? Because they're freaking out. I don't care what they say. They are freaking out over Epic Universe and Universal. Universal 100%. Is, yep, they are eating their lunch. And obviously this is proof to me, because of how much time and energy they're putting into Florida, proves to me personally that Universal is a way bigger threat than they want to admit.
And we mentioned this before on one of the other shows. You got Zelda, you got Pokemon. What are you gonna do? What is Disney gonna do? Disney does not have anything in their arsenal that's gonna compete with Pokemon. And if you think I'm wrong, you can leave a comment down below and leave a comment letting me know what you think can outbeat Pokemon. Because I don't think there is anything. The generation that's spending money in the parks right now is the generation that grew up with Pokemon. So you're pretty much screwed.
Yeah, and also can too with also with like these special event stuff here in Hollywood. They're also introducing anime stuff.
Yeah.
So so I'm not saying they're gonna have like an anime land or something. You never know, but they're still incorporating other forms of nerd media into their parks as well.
Yes, exactly. And so, there's this big, push to, with the Florida stuff. Clearly Universal is making inroads on Disney World enough to make them nervous. So, you know what? Cool. You know what? If that's what it takes to get you to take our resort seriously, I'll see Universal Studios Hollywood this weekend, fellas. Well, I'll go to Universal every freaking weekend. I'll keep giving them my money, because I want Disney to sit up and take notice of our resort too. And clearly we got the bad end of the stick when it came to this expo.
Yes. And here's the other thing I want to mention. On one of Dave's from Fresh Bake, shout out Dave, one of his videos, there was someone that made a comment. And this isn't me bashing this person's comment, but I replied to it with like a item list basically. And the person said, well, we should focus on Disneyland with the TomorrowLand stuff, because DCA has gotten a lot of stuff, and I disagree. I mean, if we look at everything recently that Disneyland has gotten, I'll try to name off the stuff I remember. We got Galaxy's Edge, we got the new Toontown, we got the Haunted Mansion extended queue, Hatbox Ghost, and New Bride. We got a new Pirate animatronic. We got the new Waltz figure and show in the Lincoln Theater. We got a new treehouse. We got the new story and characters in Jungle Cruise. So there was, so there's been a lot of stuff.
The new shop, the new Haunted Mansion shop.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yes, the new Haunted Mansion Leota shop, the new Tiana's Palace restaurant or redone restaurant. So there's been so much that Disneyland has gotten in their park compared to DCA. Like the last major thing was that Buena Vista Street Cars Land and Little Mermaid edition that they got.
Well, no, exactly. So DCA 1.0 was abysmal, right? For the most part. Mm-hmm. So we had that little window from 2007 to 2012 where they actually put money into DCA, where we got World of Color, Buena Vista Street, Cars Land, all this cool stuff. Okay, cool. And then after 2012, it went back to business as usual. We're going to do a cheap retheme of the pier with Pixar. We're going to give you San Francisco. I love San Francisco. It's pretty neat, but it's nothing like crazy. It's a modest kind of on the cheap kind of retheme. They haven't done anything really awesome in DCA since 2012.
No.
Disneyland has seen 15-acre expansions with Galaxy's Edge. It's seen all kinds of Mickey and Minnie's, a whole reimagined Toontown. But you know what? We have to rush this new Tomorrowland and put it in front of the only ambitious project for DCA. I don't understand why. That's the other thing too, and we'll talk about it, Candid, if you want, with Tomorrowland. I find it highly fishy, bro. Highly fishy that they are rushing this Tomorrowland thing. There is more to that than it's not just because they're doing it for the fans. I can promise you that.
Well, real quick, I actually have an article when you guys are ready to pull up about the proposal for Tomorrowland before that got rejected. So I have that to pull up when you guys are ready.
Yeah, let me say one thing before we move on. The whole fact that we've seen this countless times in DCA of these rethemes, reimagines, and once I already said this, just the shitty remakes of things. It makes me nervous. It makes me nervous that they're going to be super cheap over in Tomorrowland. And like you said, the most ambitious thing we were about to get over Cars Land, because Cars Land was pretty ambitious too. We're going to just say no to it. For what reason? We have the land to do it. We have the extra land for Disneyland 4. We have all this extra land for DCA that we could use. This is one of those things where we're going to be okay with it. But we didn't hear shit. We didn't hear people cry about getting, except for me. I was the only one that cried. We didn't cry about getting Galaxy's Edge. We didn't cry about getting a second version of the same thing that they have a couple miles over in Florida. Everyone was okay with it. Everyone was okay with them using up all the extra land that Disneyland had, where we could have built, what, 5 mini lands there? Maybe 6 mini lands? We could have expanded Toontown. We could have expanded Fantasyland. We could have done so much more and got such higher quality than what we got with Galaxy's Edge. Don't get me wrong. Rise of Resistance is a masterpiece. Brilliant ride. But we didn't need everything else. We didn't need nothing in between those two rides. There's nothing to do there. And the fact that we're getting this giant just monolith and a ride that we know is going to be awesome, and they're not going to give us a whole bunch of fluff and take up all that space for no reason, we should be happy we're getting this instead of them wasting space.
Well, again, that's the problem, is that Disneyland gets all the love. You know, DCA by Disney, it seems like, and even by the fans, is treated as this, it's DCA, it's over there.
But people are going to pay the ticket price. People still pay for the hopper. People are still going to pay the same amount they're going to pay to get into Disneyland because they don't know better. And that's Disney's problem, because Disney's deceiving.
Well, and that's why, because fans, they're like, oh, it's just DCA, just put it over there, it's fine. They still go over there because they allow it to be that way. Because since Disney sees the money still coming in, they still see the people coming in. What's the incentive for them to bring anything new?
Well, yeah, and it frustrates me too with the fandom how there's such a movement on social media, whether it be X or even YouTube, where people are advocating for Disney to cancel Pandora. But yet the stupid Kuka arm thing, which has no theme, the Imagineer got on that Imagineering YouTube channel and said it to the camera. The ride system is the theme. There's zero theme, but I don't see any people on X, all these activists, right, talking about how DCA shouldn't get that. But for some reason, the one thing that's actually got a little bit of ambition to it, oh man, we got to prevent this from happening. We got to stop this. We can't have this. It's almost like, it's just weird to me. Like, I don't understand. Like, you're fighting tooth and nail to get this canceled, but you're allowing that stupid Kuka arm thing that you can that you see at at amusement parks.
And what's the idea that they give you? What is it that they tell us every single time that they want and said? Zootopia? You've seen Zootopia. You've seen every single thing Zootopia offers you. And how much of it does it offer? It offers a cool aesthetic. Yeah, I'm walking through this Zootopia land for a couple minutes, and then you get on the one ride, and then you're done. So you're telling me that Zootopia Land is going to replace this, and it's more ambitious than this? And don't get me wrong, I was on board with that in the beginning until I started seeing stuff like this. Until I started seeing this giant piece of art, this 300-foot freaking mountain spewing water at me with glowing lights. And I've been to Pandora in Walt Disney World, and I got to do it at night. I got to go there when the first week it was open, so I've seen everything. I was there to, I think, to like 11 or 12. They were open hella late. And I got to ride both the rides multiple times. I got to walk on that floor, which is just gorgeous. I got to see every single piece of that land with the floating mountains. I even got to drink one of the best drinks I've ever had. So you're going to tell me that you're not going to want any of that? How many times over the years have I talked to you guys about the Pongo Pongo and that Night Blossom thing? It's been a lot, because I still think about it. It's so good. And if we were to get that, that'd be amazing. And on top of that place is a bar, and it sells like 3 of their own homemade brews. So talk about making extra money and having your own brew. Come on, dude. You guys are just going to give that away for Zootopia, which is not going to be able to have alcohol in it. There you go.
Yeah, Zootopia is essentially another Toontown. And if we get the same one as Shanghai, which I would assume we would, maybe not, but I assume we probably would, it's the same ride system as Mickey and Minnie's and Rise. We already have two versions of that ride system at the resort. Now we need a third one. This is something totally different. This is Shanghai Disneyland Pirates, completely different ride system. DCA does not have a crazy, well, first of all, DCA doesn't have a boat ride right now. Now, if they open Avatar, we'll have 2, which it desperately needs.
Yeah.
And I get it. People don't like the franchise. Oh, I know a lot of Disney fans, they don't like Avatar. And that's fine. I'm not a huge Avatar guy either. But I don't need to love everything. Look, dude, I go through Pixar Pier. I don't love every single movie that Pixar made that's represented on the pier. But I can still enjoy certain things. Or like, I don't love every movie that...
Emotional Whirlwind? When was the last time you rode that?
Right.
Yeah. And see, exactly. No, and that exactly is that Inside Out is great movies. The ride sucks. And that's where, as fans, you have to be able to separate the two of the movie side and the actual theme park side.
Well, even Incredicoaster, what did they do differently? They added a couple pieces of metal, and then what I mean by metal is like these cutout pieces of metal that are shaped like the humans that are in this movie, which not that great. They didn't even repaint the ride. And it breaks down all the time. I'm just putting that out there.
And Candid, and guess what? That ride's still popular. And do you know what else is still popular? A big one. Tiana's slash Splash. Okay, Splash Mountain. How many people besides the hardcore fans even knew what the reference of Splash Mountain was? Almost nobody. I remember one time I was in line and there was a group of girls in front of me. Oh, what's this ride based off of? I don't know. But guess what? Nobody cared. You know why? Because they liked the log flume ride.
But you know what ruins it? When people start chit-chatting, just like they're doing right now with Avatar. They get on their X, they get on their Twitter, and they start chit-chatting. And guess what? Now we have to come and be the people of reason to be like, hey, bro, give it a damn chance. But somehow we're the bad guys. We're the bad people for wanting ambition. We're the bad people for wanting to see this park change. We are the bad people for trying to make your ticket that you spent the same amount to get in Disneyland worth the money to go into this park. So you guys can be the one that spends an extra $100 to get in, and you can go to a shitty land, which is just going to have your Monsters Inc. for the next 20 years.
Well, thank you, dude. Candid, you are spot on. Mic drop. Everybody at home watching this, you want to spend $200 to get into this park with a Kuka arm and a Monsters Inc. ride? That's very mid. Come on, fight for some ambition here. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy to me that the fans are so like against this project when like what does DCA have right now that is even remotely close to as good as this?
And you're not losing anything. And that's the crazy part. If you look at Disney World, this is the wildest one for me. Disney World has erased so many popular attractions to put in new pieces into that park. And they've done it multiple times. You have all this extra space and you keep getting rid of shit to put in new things. Disneyland kind of doing the same thing. DCA, this is one of the first times where we're actually going to get something that is going to replace a ride that's already been remade 2 other times. So what do you want them to do? Remake Monsters Inc. for a 3rd time instead? We can't keep doing that. DCA 1.0, that was a remake of a whole park because the whole park was ass. It doesn't make sense. Let them give us something new. You've seen what they did with Cars. You've seen what they did with Cars.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, I think the problem is, Candid, and this goes into the Tomorrowland aspect, a big problem actually, is the fans just have their nostalgia goggles on too much. You know, they see it.
For what though? What is so nostalgia about that part of the park?
Monsters. How many times have you heard people say, "I love Monsters Inc. Such a great ride. I don't want them to get rid of it." I've actually seen people say, "I would rather have Monsters Inc. than have this land."
Well, it's not just monsters. It's even just having an urban cityscape in that spot.
Well,
I see so many people. Well, I just can't see this kind of thing going in that area. Well, that's why you're not an Imagineer. Straight up. Obviously, they can put it there because that's the plan. So let them figure it out. But there's this nostalgia where it's like, well, it's buildings now. It's sound stages, and it looks like a back lot or whatever. So therefore, it needs to be a similar thing. It needs to be Zootopia, which is a bunch of boxy buildings that looks like a city. Fans can't imagine something different, and they don't want to let go of what's currently there. And Zootopia is a safer transition for them mentally, where it's like, you know, okay, we have big boxy buildings. It's kind of like a city a little bit. We'll replace it with like another kind of city thing, and it makes them feel safe or something. I don't know. It's weird. This is drastic. This is drastic change.
I'm one of those people because it's still hard for me to see it. I want to admit that because I've been on the record saying these things, and that's why it changes over the time. That's why I feel like I love being in the position I'm in because I'm a human being and I can have an opinion and that my opinion can change just like everybody else's. And I like changing my opinion based off of the facts and what I see.
Yeah.
So I do believe that Zootopia transition would be easier because it makes sense to be there. It looks and feels like it should be there already. This does not fit. I will stand on that. This does not fit. But this also doesn't fit anywhere. It doesn't fit in Animal Kingdom. It'll never fit in any other place in the world except the world of Pandora because it's a fucking made up place that has nothing to do. It has bioluminescent floors. But the fact that they can recreate it and bring it to life for us to be able to have it, who says it can't be in our universe? Who says it can't be in the backlot of DCA? But I will be on the once again, I will say this. I wish we got Monstropolis. I think it would have been awesome to get back there. That would be my whole thing if I was to do it because I am a huge Monsters Inc. fan and it matches the theme of having Pixar, and then we can end up changing the name to Pixar Paradise whatever, DCA Paradise Pixar. But I'm not going to say that I want Monstropolis over a Shanghai version of anything. I've seen that ride. We've done a video on that ride, OG.
We
And
did.
that blew me away. Dude, they had 2 giant pirate ships, like full-size pirate ships. And you go inside it and you're just like, oh, hey, dude, I'm just going through a pirate ship with me and the boys. What are we going to get here? 10
Yeah.
years later from the old Avatar, from Pandora. The technology change is so crazy. This scene right here, I can tell you by just being in Disney World and seeing what they had there, this water, if it glowed like that, I don't need anything else. I just need to see glowing water. Have you ever seen glowing water in real life? No, because it doesn't
No.
fucking exist. But they can here. But you rather have what? A fucking LED sign outside of a police station for Zootopia?
Come on, you guys. What do you want that? You want an LED sign outside of a police station, or do you want this? A boat ride that goes outdoors like this at night with waterfalls, and you go back inside to a giant show building? Come on, it's a no-brainer. Exactly. We don't need Judy Hopps in a cop car. We're done with. We're done.
What do we do with all the fights going down?
Yeah, well, that's true. Maybe.
So check this out. Me and OG did a walk and talk. I believe it was on Friday. Yeah, Friday. We did a walk and talk on Friday. Before the parks panel, and people talk about transitions because you guys were just talking about transitions. How people can't see Avatar going there. Mentally it's easier for another urban environment to go in there. However, we went over to Grizzly Peak. Now,
beautiful.
Here's the thing. You go from Buena Vista Street, LA to like Grizzly Peak. Let me ask you, does that make sense? Does that make sense going from Southern California all the way to Northern California just like that? And do people complain about that transition? No. So why are people going to complain about this transition from stupid Hollywood Boulevard to Pandora? It doesn't make sense to me. And the transition from the hub of Buena Vista Street is perfectly fine going into like the Grizzly area.
And from what we understand, it seems like when you get into this area, that whole section, like that whole little courtyard in front of Monsters, is going to be some sort of transitionary period to get you into the Rockwork area, which will be behind the monorail beam. Based on what we're seeing with the model, it seems like all this rockwork, this crazy rockwork and stuff, is going to be built basically outside the park. And the stuff in front of Monsters Inc. will be some sort of transitionary thing to kind of get you in the mood for Pandora. So it could work. And like you said, Webba, we did that walk and talk on this past week, and there's no crazy transition from Buena Vista Street from 1930s Hollywood or LA into like this national forest, whatever. Like, come on.
Redwood,
Redwood, yeah.
California.
It doesn't need like 4 miles of foreplay to get you in the mood for Grizzly Peak.
Oh, well, no, and you go from Pixar Pier also into Grizzly Peak. I mean,
4 miles of foreplay, by the way.
All
my foreplay fans out there.
You know what I'm saying? We got our foreplay fans, but you're right though, Webb. But we don't have any crazy transitions from the pier to Grizzly.
What a beautiful area too. Can we point out that these pictures and the model do not match up though? They're turned differently. So it's angled differently.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. It's hard to tell because I don't know if like
Maybe because of the way
The
the camera's
camera.
taking the picture.
Yeah,
It could be, yeah.
it's kind of weird. But it looks crazy. But should we pivot to Tomorrowland? It's kind of also.
I don't know. I don't think they're ready. We're getting pretty hot. This is what this show's about. It's the hot takes. I'm glad that we're able to speak our mind. And once again, everybody, like, leave your comments down below. Let us know how you feel about these things. And this is just speculation. This is just us having a voice and an opinion.
Right.
Nothing's set in stone. Nothing's set in stone. Just like Disney's not set in stone with Avatar. It could go by the wayside because everyone's complaining about it. And we could get something shitty in return. Or we can end up getting the most amazing thing that Disney has done in California in a century. So let's hold on to our hats and see what we're going to get. But we're going to keep talking about it. And hopefully you guys can talk about it with us. But let's transition, like you said, over to Tomorrowland. OG, just kick us off, dude. Just kick us off with some.
And then Web, if you have that article you want to share, if you want to, I can share that too.
Absolutely.
But like Tomorrowland is interesting because that was like the big surprise at the end of the experiences panel, right? Okay, we're gonna do a new Tomorrowland. Now, fans have been wanting a new Tomorrowland for 30 years, right? I mean, really since 1998, pretty much, I would say. And look, this is where the we're listening to fans thing kind of comes in. This is where like Maslam is like kind of doing this fan service thing, right? Where they're like, we're listening to you. And this is, we want to give this new Tomorrowland to you because you've been asking for it for a long time. Great. Nothing wrong with that. My thing though, my kind of like suspicion though, kind of peaked when they said they're gonna move this. They're going to prioritize this over Pandora. So you're going to prioritize it over the project you've been working on for 3+ years. See, that's fishy to me because it's especially fishy because we do have a deadline coming up for the Autopia vehicles, which I believe is in February of 2027 to convert all those vehicles to electric. Now, this is just a theory. I don't want to like say this with any kind of authority because I don't know. This is OG spitballing. Are they maybe deciding they don't want to deal with the conversion to the electric cars, and they're going to replace Autopia and maybe even the submarines to give us a new Tomorrowland instead? And that's why they're pushing up the priority of Tomorrowland because, well, there's a deadline, isn't there? February of 2027. So they have to push up the deadline for new Tomorrowland because, well, there's a deadline with these stupid Autopia cars. So that could be it. It could also just be prioritized because they think that that's what fans want and they're being annoying about it. I don't really know, but what say you, Webba? This is your article, so.
Yeah, so as you can see here, the proposal for Disneyland's Tomorrowland was rejected. As I have highlighted here, that was reported by the Wall Street Journal. It was rejected because executives thought that a Tomorrowland reimagining or redo, refresh, whatever you want to call it, would not significantly increase attendance. Now, look, we know that Tomorrowland, as the hardcore fans, we see better for Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland can be better. However, if we look at like a baseline of like the normies, this land still pulls people, even with the stupid launch bay, the broken people mover track, the half-baked sub ride, right? And the barely, usable theater that they just brought back with the Pixar shorts. This land still pulls people for Buzz. It still pulls people for Star Tours. It still pulls people for Autopia. Even Nemo, I know I said half-baked, but it pulls people for Nemo and Space Mountain. So there's a lot of guest flow in that park still. Now, as fans, we can see the potential for even greater. And I think Disney knows this, down the line. But for now, you're seeing like the money coming in, the traffic flow. There's no rush and has been no rush in the past to do anything about this, despite the fans screaming out the top of the mountain, hey, let's get this done, refresh it. But I agree with OG. I think that, it's not just fan service. Hey, we know you guys have been wanting this for such a long time, and here it is, ta-da. I think it's because this is a last minute type of decision where like, hey, we don't even have the infrastructure or anything ready for this electric thing. And by law, we have to have it either here or not by next year, 2027 in February.
Well, and think about it, Webba, because we didn't hear anything about the electric cars at D23, did we?
No, we did not.
But we heard about a new Tomorrowland.
We
And
did.
and this article isn't that old. It was just a few months ago in January. And the executives at Disney decided as recently as January, or that's when it was reported. But I think it was actually a couple years prior to this, if I'm not mistaken. But whatever, it doesn't really matter.
I think it's like 2023 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. But they decided that this wouldn't significantly impact attendance. It wouldn't really give them a significant ROI. So what changed, Disney? What's changed? Well, is it the deadline for the electric cars? I find it hard to believe that this is all about like just giving the fans what they want.
Well, and
that's why it's not. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Ken. Just right here, I just want to read this. This is another interesting point here. Because look, we've had multiple leadership changes, very short time span, right? So according to WSJ, the Tomorrowland proposals were rejected during a period of diminished ambition at Disney when theme park executives did not trust WDI, the creative team behind Disney Parks attractions and other experiences, to deliver projects on time and on budget. Isn't that interesting?
So this is the issue. I actually believe it. I don't believe that whatever they do, it's not going to bring in more people. It'll bring in more people for the first couple of years, obviously, because people want to see it. But the money that's going to come out of there, it's not going to change unless they do something crazy. And the only thing I can think of is, I've kind of broke it down today on my live. You start with Space Mountain. Space Mountain's going to get a retheme. I think they're going to retheme Space Mountain because it's untouchable. You cannot touch Space Mountain. You're going to retheme it. You are going to get the Fantastic Four there. They already put the projectors up. They already put in the lighting, and they already had them on there. They already had that banger of a girl, Invisible Woman. When you could see her, she's nice. She's a nice lady. You had Herbie, which Webbo mentioned the other day. They already set that up, and it was fans loved it. So I think that's just an easy way for them to stick something there and then go back with that theme. The second part of it is the Carousel project, or Carousel Progress, because not project, it is a project. All those parts that they're taking out of there from the 60, 50, 60, 70s, whatever, that's going to need a place to go unless it's just going to go into the dungeons. So what keeps Disney from bringing that back over here and redoing our Carousel Progress over in the Innovations or whatever they call it now? And then on top of that, you come down, you want to get rid of Star Wars. You want Star Wars to have its own identity back and have it over in its own area. So you get rid of Star Tours, and then you retheme that to whatever they have overseas, Ant-Man and Wasp or Iron Man. Call it a day. The only thing that really stays is Buzz Lightyear, because that's the only thing that they could possibly put there. But once again, they said that they wanted to clear up space. So you end up getting rid of the Rocket Rods track, or People Mover track. That's gone. Now you opened up the space. So now you can have more guests come in, and you get rid of that damn whatever the hell that is. What's that? Astral Orbiters. That needs to go. They're going to pick that up. They're going to move it somewhere else. And then you get rid of the electric cars that are not there, and you get rid of Nemo. And then you're done. They're not going to do anything else is what I'm getting at. You're not going to get anything brand new, not for a while. Their refresh that you're going to get for this time being for 2027 is going to be all the stuff I just mentioned. And they're going to work on getting rid of the Autopia track during that time frame. So you're going to get everything else repainted and redone by 2030, whatever. And then you're going to have your Avatar open up.
Well,
That's
yeah, because no, but yeah, I mean, honestly, they're admitting in these articles there's no ROI in it. It wasn't worth it.
Unless you put something massive, even if you put Tron in there, Tron is not going to bring. And fucking stop, everybody. That's the one that bullshits me. We're not putting Tron there. You're not going to get Tron. The only reason why you want Tron is because you see it over in Disney World. And if you have not been to Disney World and you have not seen how big that fucking Tron ride is, it is massive. That building that it's in is huge. And guess what? The ride is a minute. We're not doing that. It does not eat up any people. It is a waste of space for Disney. They can do something so much better. And to put a franchise like Tron in there, once again, we talked about it. OG mentioned it earlier. The franchise doesn't need to always match the money coming in. But if you want to bring people into that side of the park, which it desperately does, because if you look at the other side of the park, you have Tiana, you have Haunted Mansion, you have Big Thunder, you have Jungle Cruise, you have Pirates, you have Winnie the Pooh. I know I'm missing a lot, but you have all that stuff. Indiana Jones. You have all those on that left side of the park if you're facing that way. what makes you go over to Tomorrowland? It's just Space Mountain. Then what happens when you're done with Space Mountain for the day? You walk all the way back to the other side because there's no way you're getting on that 65-minute plus line again to go on Space Mountain. So everybody congregates on one side. So the only way for Tomorrowland to really eat people up is by getting something brand new and innovative. And they didn't give a shit because this was a last minute thought because they need to work on the fucking cars. You're right.
Candid, but what does that sound like
that.
though? Like, again, what is that? What you just said? What does that sound like? Only going over to this area for X or Y or Z. Kind of sounds a little bit like DCA, don't you think? I'm just gonna go over here, pop over here real quick, do a couple of things, and then hop back over to Disneyland. That's exactly what Tomorrowland is. It's just a land version of that.
And it's been like that for, like OG said, for 30 years. Even when they had a regular fast pass, I would run over there, hop on that ride first because I knew it was gonna be hard to get on again. And then I'd get my fast pass, and then I would jam over to and do everything else. And then I'd go back to Tomorrowland. So I would end up anytime I go to the park, I probably go to Tomorrowland like twice. Everything else, I'm there the whole time.
And this is the problem, like I was saying here, during the Chapek era, senior financial executives were visiting WDI daily and approving or disapproving budget items. I mean, like, do the agent parks have this problem? It doesn't seem like it. It seems like this is only a domestic problem. You know, and with Tomorrowland
at all, right? Should they give the budget? They should say, hey, this is what you're going to get. This is what you need to use. Stay within that budget. We don't have anything else right now. You don't get to come in and just start moving things around because it doesn't fit in the budget. And then the thing is that this senior financial executive, he's supposed to have the brains to know that every single thing they do is going to make X amount of money over and over and over again, tenfold for not just that year, but for the remaining of its lifespan. And how many times have we seen these executives come in and it hasn't changed anything? Like Tiana's, like you said earlier, Tiana's still getting the same amount of people coming through. You know why? It has nothing to do with the theming. It has to do with it being a boat ride and it's being summertime. And it's thrilling because you're going down a 50-foot drop. You can put any theme in there and it's going to get the same amount of people. So the fact that we had to redo that, it's the bullshit behind it.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The IP is irrelevant to what the experience is going to be in the park. It doesn't matter. But all the fans they can't separate the two. You know,
why would we not get Avatar? Forget the theme, get the adventure, get the experience.
Yes.
No, fans can't get out of their own head when it comes to the franchise. This whole thing about Avatar and hating Avatar and DCA has nothing to do with preserving the integrity of the California theme. The fans don't even want the California theme.
No.
They've been shitting on it since the park opened. It's just about making an excuse to not have that land in there because they don't like the franchise. It doesn't matter what you think about the franchise. I don't like Waterworld as a movie, but I love the show at Universal. I don't care about Cars. I don't like Cars as a franchise, but the land is amazing. The ride is amazing.
Yeah.
I love Monsters Inc. as a movie, and the ride is mid as hell.
Yeah, it is. And
it doesn't matter.
And this is my problem, OG, with Tomorrowland is they're kind of damned if they do, damned if they don't here. Because if you cheap out, you're damned. If you go big ambition and remove all the nostalgic things that people love about it, you're also damned because now you're going to be yelled at by the fans.
Nostalgia there, though. What is so nostalgic that's up and running for these fans to go in and fucking do anyways? There's nothing. You can't see Captain EO. You can't go and see Carousel Project. You can't get on the People Mover, and they're been gone for a century. So
but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is that the potential is there for them to come back. That's what I'm saying. If those do not come back, fans are going to be pissed if they bring
People
something
Mover
new.
in Disney World doesn't do numbers.
No, People Mover out here didn't do numbers. It didn't. But right before it closed, it was pretty dismal. But here's the thing. You're right, Webba, where fans are going to, this is the thing. It's very easy for Maslam to get on that experiences stage and announce a new Tomorrowland vague as hell. But let's wait. Let's wait when the details come out, how fans react. When they start to announce we're getting rid of Autopia, when they start to announce the subs are going away, when they start to announce that this thing and that thing is going away to make way for this new Tomorrowland. The fans are mentally married to this stuff. We can't even get rid of the Hyperion without the fans complaining. There's been nothing in that building for 3 years. And people just want the building there just to have the building there. It's ridiculous.
No, I don't.
Before.
Yeah, I don't get it. You know, I know people keep saying, "Oh, Hyperion, bring back the shows." Guys, no, demolish it, get something else.
But they're not going to bring anything back. I'm telling you that right now. That the union stuff, they're going through all this union stuff. It's a whole nother can of worms. But that and the fact that they're already kind of dangerously close with the Avatar stuff, they're already earmarking. That's a placemaker spot. It will become Avatar or it will become Marvel or something else. They are not. You will never see a show in there again. I can promise you that.
No, exactly. Now with Tomorrowland, I do think they will get rid of Autopia and even probably subs because those subs are old, just like Autopia is old, and they cost a lot, and they kind of are, Autopia is over the subs, and it's just this whole mess. Plus, you have the whole monorail going through all that too. Launch Bay,
theming, by the way.
yeah, and you have the you have the launch bay, which is like useless. Besides, if you have DVC over there, so I mean, there's a lot of unused tap potential in this park, and that's the thing: is are they going to cheap out, or are they like? I think they need to go all in on Tomorrowland. It's either you go big or you go home.
Well, the other thing too, the other thing too that we have to consider, Autopia. I'm telling you, Autopia is in serious jeopardy.
Yeah,
that land dips into Fantasyland. Fantasyland is $1 billion money printing machine because of Frozen and Tangled and all these princesses.
Yeah,
you're gonna say it, and that's what I've been afraid of. We've talked about this before, OG. We're gonna end up with Frozen. It's inevitable. We will somehow, somewhere, end up with Frozen in Fantasyland. Whether it's in that spot, whether they pick up the Matterhorn and move it, Frozen's going to end up coming here because it makes a shit ton of money. And I hope
and they free up space if they get rid of Autopia for something like Frozen, because all that Autopia motorboat stuff, you can put a Frozen thing in there.
Yeah.
Now, question to you guys. I believe our good friend, Theme Park Philosophy, actually brought this up in a conversation we were having in a group chat. What if they were to bring in that motorboat, like let's say starting from the motorboat area to subs or like Autopia, they kind of shorten Tomorrowland up to there. What if they had like a Fantasy Springs-esque land section, and where you could have multiple IPs, where you have a Frozen, but then hey, maybe if you want to still keep the water and rock features and trees and stuff, now you have Moana situated there.
It would be smart of them to lessen the footprint of Tomorrowland, just because they don't have a whole lot of IPs that they can put it. Look, Disney's about the IP. So, I mean, I know fans are going to get on here and say, well, what about an original ride? I don't think they're doing original anymore. I think that ship has sailed. I maybe I'm wrong. I just don't feel like they will.
Risk, OG. Put some risk out there.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I mean, maybe they will. Who knows? But I think that they're more into like what Fantasyland has to offer, because that's where the $1 billion the heavy hitters are at. And so they can shrink Tomorrowland and they can expand all the princess shit, and they will make money, dude.
We need a Tangled bathroom.
We do. Be fair to California. Come on.
Yeah, give us a Tangled bathroom. What's your thoughts on getting Beauty and the Beast?
I love it. I love that friend. I love Beauty and the Beast. It's a great movie.
Yeah, I mean, the ride looks amazing. You know what we need though, and I no one ever talks about this. The park needs another restaurant.
A Fantasyland
restaurant.
Sit down restaurant.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, Candid, because actually,
oh, he froze. What was he going to say? What were you going to say?
Oh, sorry.
He's back.
Did I freeze? Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back. I was frozen. I was very on brand.
Let it go.
Let it go. I bet you this new Tomorrowland includes a sit-down restaurant with alcohol, like a Space 220 style restaurant they have at Epcot. I bet you this new Tomorrowland incorporates some sort of restaurant like that. Because that's if they're gonna make any money back, that's where they could possibly do it.
Yep. And alcohol is gonna be it. And
that'll be it.
My thing is then innovations, whatever the fuck that building's called. I'm gonna call it innovation still. That place is so big, but what's the chances of them using that as the restaurant? Because they still want to use that for the package.
Right. Well, they might.
And it's already circular.
Well, it's funny. I was actually telling OG about this. Like, what if they made their own version of Space 220? You call it something else, but space themed or whatever, as a dining restaurant in that whole.
It would, and honestly, it would do very well.
It would, dude. It would do very well. You get a nice sit down restaurant akin to a Space 220. You serve cocktails. You can have themed space cocktails, whatever, bro. You would make money hand over fist. I would put the chances of something like that happening in Tomorrowland at like 90%, because they that's the only way they're going to make their money back. But they don't have any major IPs that fit the space theme. What, they're going to do Strange World? Come on now, that movie made like $4 at the box office.
Oh my god! Everybody, don't go leaving comment. Oh geez, it made $4. It really didn't. It made $100,000. That's what fucking people are gonna do in the comments now. Thanks a lot, OG.
You know what I'm saying? It was a flat. Go ahead.
Now, OG, I think I was talking to you about this, but I actually want to get Candace's take on this. Okay, so People Mover, right? I think this is the one nostalgic theme people want out of anything, is the People Mover. Me personally, I don't care. I can get rid of it. But here's the thing: People Mover, it goes through most of Tomorrowland, right? Like all of the buildings. It goes through Buzz, it goes through Star Tours, I know Star Tours, they covered it up, but it goes through Space Mountain. Okay. If we got a Tomorrowland redo, reimagine, re-envision, would you want them to like touch up Space Mountain, like kind of upgrade the effects, which they have been doing lately? Like if you go on the ride, there's like some new nebulas and stuff. But would you want them to kind of give it like an upgrade, like kind of like what they're doing in Tokyo?
So that's what I wanted as a Tomorrowland in general. I wanted the Tokyo Tomorrowland.
Me
I don't
too.
want to go back to the 50s or to the 60s. It doesn't make any sense. Don't call it Tomorrowland then. Call it whatever, just something else. We want to be in the future. I do think they need to update it. I do think that things inside there need to be upgraded. I think we also need new trains in that ride, or like upgraded versions of the trains. On top of that too, just the queue line is just so retro and old. It needs to be upgraded. And the fact that they did it over in Tokyo, it looks the way it looks. It doesn't veer off to the point where it's not it's unrecognizable. It looks like it got brought up to the future. And I'm not just talking about like the future, like far into the future.
Yeah,
that's where the technology has moved us from then till now. So I'm all about it. And they have so much extra space of like all up in that queue line in the area in the top. They need to fix all that. They're just wasting space. There's another spot where you can have a bar.
Yeah, no, exactly. And the other thing too, they're doing, and Maslam made a big point of this, right? At the expo. It's yesterday's vision of the future, right? It's a 1960s vision of tomorrow. Isn't that convenient? Isn't that convenient? That's what I'm saying. Right on the money, Candid. Because what do they already have? They already have the 1960s Tomorrowland, the bones of it right now.
Yeah.
Was it blue, gray, and silver?
Yeah, you can paint it. You can give it a nice little paint job. You can add maybe like a ride or a Space 220 restaurant. Remove the People Mover track. Remove Autopia. Do a little something. But like, it's a pretty modest kind of like, reimagining at the end of the day. So we'll see what happens. But
pretty
it's
much
crazy.
Saying we're not going to get shit there. It's going to be half-assed, and you're going to cry about not getting this $1 billion land, and they're not going to put that $1 billion into Tomorrowland.
They're not doing no $1 billion, no. And this is being rushed and fast tracked, I think, because they are panicking over this Autopia thing, and this is a good cover to just demolish Autopia and do something different and not deal with the electric cars. That's what I really think is happening here.
Oh yeah, dude, fandom. They're not doing you a solid, okay? They're not, for the fans. No, it is. We are in hot doo-doo right now, and we need to figure out what to do quick before we lose capacity, lose revenue, and all that good stuff that they don't like to lose. So we need to prioritize over Pandora and get this up to speed. Now, what that is, OG, I have no idea. It could be the retro look that Canada doesn't want. It could be something amazing of Tokyo that he does want. Who knows? But either way, I see fans complaining either way, because you're going to lose the old stuff that was there that's not coming back, or you're going to still keep it very similar and barely do anything with it.
Yeah, this whole tomorrow, Webba, when we were there, I knew when they announced that, I'm like, there is something fishy. This is mind games.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we're just cynical. I don't know. But I mean, I just, there's something to it. It's really weird. and we'll kind of see how it shakes out. But I don't know.
Well, also, I just want to point out too. Sorry, Cannon, real quick. We've been hearing, and I've been hearing about Disney. I believe they said themselves that there has been testing of a prototype going on at for Autopia. Now, has that been going on lately? From what I've heard, no. So, and I've heard that it's actually that Autopia has been pushed back to the ETA. Who knows? So I think it's like, what does that tell you?
Do you think it has to do with sponsorship? And I mentioned this before, is that someone said, "Oh, they're just going to build their own and put them on there." I don't think they would. The fact that ride has been sponsored since like the opening day, that is such an easy way to make money for Disney. Disney's not going to leave money on the table by not reaching out to the 40 different EV makers. If Tesla wants to come in and spend $1 billion on this little ride to give it some flair, I'm actually kind of want to see it. I would love to see that. I think that'd be awesome, because what Honda did, they went in and they tried their best to make this look extra little extra pretty things. They put the robot guy, they made the cars nice. It worked for them, and they didn't do that much, and they just kept it. It's upkept it. But there's a couple different people that I see that can do this. The only thing is that the story's going to be told if we do see a sponsorship. If they sign that dotted line, how long is that dotted line going to be signed for? Is it going to be 2 years, 5 years, 10 years? And if it's 10 years, we're fucked. We're not getting anything over there. It's going to be there for a long time.
Yeah, we'll see. Very curious how this whole thing shakes out, but the math, it's just not adding up. Is that like between Webba, the article you shared, where just a few years ago they thought that Tomorrowland was not going to bring in what they needed. The fact that there's this deadline for Autopia's electric vehicles that's coming up in a few months. The fact that we didn't hear anything about those electric vehicles at the expo, and now they're going to make Tomorrowland a priority. Shenanigans are afoot. Shenanigans are afoot.
I want to talk about one more thing before we head out. This is we're going to go back over to Disney World real quick. Do you think Villains Land is going to overshadow the rest of the park? And do you think it's going to have everybody and their mom there to the point where the rest of the park is going to be scarce and empty?
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I've been to Magic Kingdom once, and that was, it's not, as a Disneylander, I wasn't impressed. I wasn't. And for me, what they look like they're planning for Villains Land, which looks really, really dope. Yeah, I would spend most of my time there. What else does that park have? It's not a really solid park. When you compare it to Disneyland, it's pretty weak, dude.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
If I only had one day to go and I had to spend it in one of the parks, that's the fourth park on my list.
Me too.
I'm not spending any time there.
Because you're a man of taste, and I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, there's nothing there that really. I'm trying to really think. Even Tron is not it's decent, but not enough for me to want to spend my whole day there. I do really like their new Fantasyland. Their new Fantasyland's great. Their Snow White, or the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train's freaking cool. But that's kind of, dude. Wait, get rid of Autopia. That leaves room for the Mine Train.
You could do that. You could, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if you get rid of our Autopia, as close as that second half of that Autopia attraction is to Fantasyland, you could do stuff like that. And I'm sure they're crunching the numbers and figuring that out too. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. And I'm not advocating to get, like I say this all the time, I don't want a duplicate of a ride. I want our own special thing. I want people to want to come to Disneyland, just like we talked about right now. Why do I want to go to Disney World or to Magic Kingdom? I don't need to. You have a half-assed Pirates. You have a better Tiki Room because it has Stitch. But dude, your Fantasyland is laughable, and the new Fantasyland is beautiful. But come on, it's not worth going if you have already been to Disneyland. Spend your money somewhere else. That's just my take. But in general, Mr. Webba, if you ever make it out there, you have to go still. You have to visit. You have to do it yourself. Their Haunted Mansion's really good. I do enjoy the Haunted Mansion. I actually do enjoy their Big Thunder a little bit more than ours. I like our theming better, but I like the actual ride for Big Thunder. I don't know, it just feels different because you're going opposite. It's just a me thing. But yeah, how are we feeling today? You guys kind of went in. We all kind of just yelled a little bit today.
Yeah, I think we need it. I think we needed it. I think we're all frustrated.
Well, actually, there's a really good point OG brought up too about Tomorrowland, and is that if you go back and look at the panel, they're really honing in on Tomorrowland, Space Mountains specifically, because you have Japan, right? They're redoing their whole Tomorrowland, the big showcase, Space Mountain. Paris, they're reverting their Space Mountain back to how it originally was. Then they make an announcement for our Tomorrowland, and then whatever that comes about. So they're on this Tomorrowland
Kick.
hype.
I think it's
kick
going to be
there.
fantastic for her. Just
Really?
makes sense, dude. You want to make money, and that's one of those movies, dude, that did all right, but the characters is what's going to make them the money. Unless they go with an X-Men theme, but how's that future? I mean, they have the future past, but how is that gonna? How can X-Men play into Tomorrowland?
Dude,
I mean,
Herbie,
kind of could in a weird way.
dude, Herbie, the little robot. I don't know if you guys ever saw him in
It was
person.
cool.
Was awesome, dude. I love that thing.
Yeah.
You know,
It
it
brought
was like,
life, dude, it brought life to that area.
it did.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they will do Fantastic Four. I know it didn't flop at the box office, but it didn't do gangbusters either. But I mean, dude, they got a Tron ride in Florida, so who knows?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hey,
we're not
again,
getting Tron. We're not.
No,
Getting
we're
Tron.
not. We're not getting Tron.
If they announce Tron, that's when you'll see me on being that guy. I will start being the hater of we need ambitious because that ride is not. It's just a regular roller coaster with a giant canopy and LED lights and
Yeah,
race like little
but
cars.
that's the thing. Nobody on the East Coast was complaining about that franchise not being a box office heavy hitter. They wanted their Tron ride, which is fine. I'm not saying they if they want the Tron ride, that's fine. But then it's like with Avatar, it's like it's a whole different standard though, right? Like, oh, the last one only made 1.4 billion. So,
right.
well, wait a minute, your Tron thing, and I mean Indiana Jones. I don't know. That's what frustrates me more than anything. It's not the opinion; it's the double standard. That's what annoys me.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's
I agree.
always double standards with Disney, and we're never
Always.
going to be on. We're never going to be on the right side of it because we're never going to be the right people.
Well, and actually, OG is funny too because with Paris, right? They have the Lion King attraction. I keep seeing, and here's the thing. I agree, right? It would be a really good fit in Animal Kingdom, but again, I see a lot of people from Florida say they should come to Animal Kingdom. You know, so it's like Pandora should go to Animal Kingdom, Lion King should go to Animal Kingdom, Zootopia should go to Animal Kingdom.
They should just put everything should go to Florida, basically. I think that's the
I'm excited. I'm excited for Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom's going to finally get that extra 2 to 3 hours of park time that the guests need, and it's going to be done well. I like looking at the images of this. It's not a small area that they're taking over. They're gonna put some work here. They're putting money into this. The chips are in.
Yeah, and that new indie ride looks sick, dude. Like,
yeah, dude.
Like
I love the name.
Dude, the name is sick. The serpent looks really cool. The temple looks awesome. The story sounds really cool. Because look, do you guys remember when they first announced? And I was actually about to make a tweet about this, but I was like, I'm not. I've already started enough like war today. I would just chill. So do you guys remember when they first announced Indiana Jones coming to Animal Kingdom? What was the big criticism all the fans had about this?
Mad. They're so mad. We don't need that. Blah, blah. And I sat there, I'm like, duh, this makes sense. They should have done this a long time ago. And everyone's hating on me for saying that.
Yeah, no. And
people think dinosaurs fucking sucks. Dinosaurs is the shittiest ride I've been on, besides Goofy Sky School. I'm putting in the same category. Yeah.
Well, and see, this is why I hope Disney doesn't take the fandom too seriously, because they poo-pooed Indiana Jones, right? Yep. Coming to Animal Kingdom. It doesn't have anything to do with the theme of the park
or animals,
Disney, right? And so Disney found a way with the serpent and the whole thing, and he's an archaeologist. It makes sense, and it worked out, and now they love it. That's what I'm saying. Disney, if you're watching, do not give in with the Pandora thing. The fans don't know what they want. They don't know what they're talking about. If you have a good idea, do it.
They're going to transfer us from California into Pandora in those little pods that you lay in.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. I like that.
Now, when I ask you guys, do you guys think this again is a problem, which I always go back to, is they announce projects too early. Pandora announced too early. Avengers announced too early. It's like when you tell us these concepts so early in development, again, like you said, OG, the fans don't know what the back behind the scenes is.
It's the middle of it. because I think people were talking shit in the beginning of Pandora, knowing that it's going to be there, but we didn't know where it was going. So I think what happens is when we start getting to the middle of it, when they start telling us where it's going to go, and then they don't give us any more on top of it, that's the issue. But people did the same thing. Well, they technically didn't do the same thing when we got Star Wars. They're like, oh, it's going to go in Disneyland. I know some people are like, well, that's kind of weird. Why would he put it in Disneyland when the other one's going in Hollywood Studios? So let's just put that in DCA. But no one was complaining about the people that are saying, let's put it in DCA. And if they would have put Star Wars Land in DCA, I shit you not, I don't think anyone would have complained. I think they would have got away with it. I think we would have had beautiful rock work. And not only that, go back to Cars. Cars is literally an animation, and it's rocks. It has nothing to do with, it doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Do you think people would have complained though with Star Wars going into DCA, like what they're saying about Avatar? Like, what did they do with California?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think they would have. I think it would have been okay, because the fact that they put it where they put it now, I think we should have complained about that. But if they would have put, I mean, it probably wouldn't fit right there. Where would they put that though? That thing's huge, dude.
Yeah, they'd have to downsize it for sure.
Well,
that's huge.
Look, Ken, the thing with Star Wars though is that people didn't complain because of Star Wars. Before Disney kind of screwed up the sequel trilogy and pissed everybody off, everybody was excited to have a Star Wars like land or whatever, you know. Whereas Avatar is an uphill battle, a severely uphill battle. You're fighting against the fans. You're fighting against a huge budget. So, you know, it already has like the lack of fandom, the lack of faith for the IP or the theme park environment itself. Yeah, it's a battle, dude. I think Star Wars got away with it because of Star Wars. People love Star Wars. They want something in the park. Cool. I like whether it's DC or Disneyland. Pandora, I think if they were to put it in Disneyland, I think the fans will still complain. Well, why would it go there? You know, Avatar. So it would be the same complaints that we're hearing now, basically.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see.
All right, everybody, leave some comments down below. I love reading comments. I want you guys to let us know if you think Pandora is still going to come to DCA, and if it does come to DCA, what is your thoughts on it? Also, I want to hear about what you would put in that spot instead of Avatar in DCA. Oh, one more thing too. If you think that the Tomorrowland refresh, that's what I'm calling it, is a refresh, is going to be a full-on retheme where we're going to spend $1 billion, or if we're going to get just a cheap-ass paint job. So leave some comments down below. Mr. Webber, kick us off. Let them know where they can find you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on, Cannon, with you and OG55. You can find me, Mr. Webber, at Webcast Citizen on Threads, Instagram, X, my YouTube channel, and also on Orange Grove 55.
There he is. There he is.
Love it.
And you can find me right here. Yeah, you can find me right here on YouTube talking theme parks with these two fine gentlemen all the time on Orange Grove 55 and on X and on Instagram, Orange Grove 55. And I want to thank Mr. Kenny Camper for being an amazing host as always.
Appreciate it. Yeah, this needed to be said. These are things that we've been talking about on the phone for way too long. And we've done post D23 videos and we stayed pretty tame, but it got to the point where I think we just started not saying we complain, but kind of complaints. But it's everyone else around us complaining to the point where we just need to, like, I want to get in the mix. I want people to be able to hear us out and be like, hey, you know what? You're actually kind of not making sense. Listen, just try it out. Hear us for a minute. And that's what we did tonight.
Yeah. Well, sorry. One more thing. After that panel, because that following Sunday, I was going to probably go to the park, and kind of for the first time in my life, I was actually that mad about the West Coast part of the panel. Okay, East Coast stuff, cool. They got their stuff. It looks great. Awesome. But I was so frustrated with the lack of information for the West Coast that it actually did not make me excited at all for what we're getting. And I didn't want to go to the park. I was like, you know what? I'm only like a couple miles away from the park. I actually just want to go home.
Well, yeah. You and I after the panel,
yeah,
we went to, and he didn't want to. He doesn't want us to say his name, but a buddy of ours, like. I can't thank this person enough for getting us in. I want to say that, you know what I'm saying? But we had a great time, even though the announcements were booty cheeks, right?
Yeah.
But we were driving from the Honda Center back to our hotel room, and I think we drove through McDonald's or something, right? And I was like, dude, I am so mad. Like we got nothing, bro. We got nothing. And we're back to square one again with the stupid Tomorrowland thing. And now we don't know what's going on with Pandora. We got nothing for Coco. I'm like, dude, this is crazy. And then we went back to the room and we recorded our video at like 2 a.m. Dude, it was crazy.
Yeah. It's like look, I had fun, and to the person that got us in, thank you so much. You know who you are. So grateful. So I had fun with OG. We had a blast. Just like up there kicking it. Wee, right, all the stuff. But when you're done with it, you're like, okay, well, there's really nothing for the West Coast. Like, this panel was to make me excited for the stuff we were getting. It did not deliver that.
No, I agree.
Daddy Josh. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying, we're going to shout to Daddy Josh right here. This is your chance to show what that hair does.
Yes.
Show what that hair do. Don't let the people behind you in the past dictate how you run the company. You have money. There's money coming in. You have ambition. You have drive. You don't sit back. You want to move forward. You got to do it. You got to beat out everybody else. Iger wanted to set himself up before he left. You've seen what he did. He tried to be super ambitious and build all this crazy shit. I don't think he lived up to his dream. I think he kind of fell flat. So don't be that guy that's going to wait 30 years to do it. Do it now when Disney needs you the most. We are out of the 2020 era. We are in the new era. We need stuff to come in. We need things to hit. We need more Villains Land. Disneyland, DCA needs that love. Walt Disneyland, that's coming soon. Walt Disney, dude, that'd be crazy. Just right in the middle of Texas, Walt Disneyland. Disneyland still needs that love. It's Walt's baby, so keep it and make it feel like that. But he also wanted it to change. He wanted a future to come, and you are in that driver's seat to be the future. You are Walt, so take care of it.
Absolutely, and be careful, Josh. Listen to California. About that, my computer is being weird. Listen to Californians, 3 Californians right here. You know what I'm saying? And don't let the Floridians influence you too much.
He can't say that. He's not from the West Coast. And that's no disrespect. That's just facts. Like, you can't say that because you're not from the West Coast. You would have to ask the West Coast.
You got to ask the West Coast.
And get rid of the damn passes for the locals. Yeah, I'm saying it. That's a hot take, right? It's a hot takes video. The locals can pay the same fucking price as everybody else. Just because you live down the street doesn't mean. Why the fuck would I give you a discount? I should charge you more. You don't have to pay gas to drive over there. You don't have to drive. You don't have to spend money at the hotels. You don't have to eat there. You can go home and eat. You can go home and take a shit and come back. I don't want to hear it. You should pay the same amount as everybody else. You shouldn't get a discount. If you can't afford to buy the fucking pass, you shouldn't get to pay monthly for it. And on top of that, just the SoCal people, I live in California too. There's no such thing as SoCal. SoCal does not exist on the fucking map. It is California. Where's my fucking discount? That's probably why I'm salty.
Let's go.
Anyways, you can find me, Candy Camper, here on YouTube. You can find me over on TikTok. You can find me over on Instagram. You can find me every once in a while, hopefully a lot more, over on OG50 Fizzle My Nizzles, West Side. Let's get it. Peace.
Peace.